What is good, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new edition of L Boogie and the Bell. It has been a while, and we've missed a lot of big things, but it doesn't change the fact that we're still here and we're gonna keep on coming back. L Boogie, how we doing today?
Doing great, man. It's been a very interesting weekend. A lot going on. Valentine's Day was Friday.
Yay,
Drake dropped an album. That's not our show per se, but whatever your opinions are on that.
yay,
And Captain America's black. So life is great.
yay, hey. Hey, it sounds good. Yeah, we definitely missed a lot of things. Shoot, we might have to take this right into A Bell at night and talk about some other stuff, things going on in the culture and things of that nature. And a big part of the culture, we missed talking about Super Bowl, but we had Kendrick at Super Bowl, and I mean, just a lot of things going on in life. But doesn't change the fact that we're here for the sports. L Boogie. Before we go on our really old Super Bowl takes, because we're really behind compared to everybody else who's already gave their opinion, let's talk about the current state of the NBA. And before we talk about that specifically, let's talk about All-Star Weekend. We started All-Star Weekend in with Friday, the celebrity game. Saturday, from what I know, it was just the dunk contest and a skills challenge. And then I think currently there's some kind of format, like two-game format for the actual All-Star game. How are you feeling about the All-Star game this year? All-Star
Yeah,
Weekend, excuse me.
well, I mean, one is cool. It's in my backyard out here in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I don't know. In some ways, I actually like what the NBA tried to do just by trying to make things a little different. I think they, like, compared to previous years, they tried to make this more of an experience rather than an event. They had a lot of things planned around not just the skills challenge, the game. They added a bunch of performances, a bunch of celebrity interactions. So I like what they tried to do. I like the update to the tournament format, even though it feels a little weird. It's something different. It's something different than just East West or Team LeBron, Team Steph. It's something different. So I give them praise for trying to make it more interesting this year. But I think their efforts ultimately fall flat
Ooh.
because even though they did change it, and I like the fact that they're trying because that shows that they want things to be better, I just don't think it was that effective because again, nobody really cares. I don't think the players are more motivated to play. I don't think I mean, even like the celebrity game, which is typically pretty fun, it was kind of trash. And the celebrities that they had play, they had Drewski play. I'm
What?
sorry,
He's
Drewski's not a
great.
hooper. Drewski's not a hooper. Kai Sinat. I don't know how
Oh,
tall Kai is. Kai is shorter than me, and I'm 5'8". I'm sorry. I'm not going out there playing
Guy's
a
probably like five
basketball
four,
game.
5'3". Nah, I mean he's
Yeah.
like 2 inches short taller than Kevin Hart. Probably like 5'5".
So, but yeah, I'm not like, why is Kai? Why are Kai? I get it, they're celebrities. I get it. They probably wanted to do it, but make the celebrity basketball game an entertaining game of basketball. I loved seeing people like Chris Brown do it, J. Cole do it because they're better than your average, ordinary amateur basketball player. That's what I like to see, not Drewski running up the down the court like he's funny, but it's not doing it for me.
I think they had Chris
Yeah,
Brickley out there, right?
I don't know if he participated this year.
Was it last year? Shabuzi was out there.
Oh yeah.
I didn't notice him at all. I briefly watched the game, so I'm like, I didn't really notice him at all. But uh let's see. Wow.
And some of
So
these people I don't even know. Actually, a lot of these people I don't even know.
I'm trying to see a roster. I guess I should have had it pulled up before the game. Okay, here, team and roster, Bleacher Report. Shout out Bleacher Report. Kai looked very happy. He's small. Like almost,
Oh,
yeah.
see, they have Matt Barnes playing. You're having retired NBA player. Like,
Matt
did
Barnes,
celebrities
Baron
just
Davis.
did so actual like non-sport celebrities not want to participate this year? Because it just looked like they had like at least five retired basketball players.
Yeah, Chris Brickley did play this year. Bayley, I don't know who he is. It says WWE superstar. Yeah, Matt Barnes. So it looks like you got one legit retired player to probably manage the game. So Baron Davis and Matt Barnes. I like these rosters. Terrell Owens played. I didn't notice him. I didn't know Shabuzi. He's a pretty big deal. I wonder if he's tall or short, or maybe I just wasn't watching the part where he was in the game. I remember we did opt to watch a show that we're watching. What's the show called, hon? Oh, she has her headphones on. But we're like watching this show, and it's like a rom com, or no, not even rom com. It's like a thriller comedy romantic. It's like the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. Uh, and it's not good. It's not good that I'm preferring to watch that over the Celebrity All Star Game because like you grew up wanting to see what the celebrities do. Um, from what I watched, it was entertaining enough. Like they were playing decent basketball out there. It wasn't like the ridiculousness or some of the worst years we're seeing where it's like they are do these guys know how to play basketball at all? I do agree with the Chris Brown take. I do agree with like those leagues that like you know how we get the Drew League in the summer where it's celebrities, people who could be in the league, and then not only that but NBA players. That aspect's more it's more technical, but I wouldn't say it's more entertaining. Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the All Star game. So or Celebrity All Star Game. How did you feel about the skills challenge? Because I feel like the most energy and media attention we've got is actually out of the skills challenge.
The skills challenge. What I liked about it was that the players seemed to want to make it competitive, and I
Ah,
can tell. Just I can tell. No, I can tell because Wemby and Chris Paul cheated.
yeah, okay.
They
I never
cheated,
considered that
but
stuff.
the thing is, at least the fact that they thought they thought outside the box. They're trying to win. That's what I thought was funny. And I don't know why that's not a rule that you have to make the shots in the skill challenge, but that's beyond me. Um, but anyway, yeah, no, I thought it was I like just seeing that from the player's perspective was fine. It was the same ordinary drills. I wish they would kind of revamp it a little more.
Yeah,
But yeah, I just thought it was funny.
for sure. I'm like trash. It wasn't that fun of an event for me. We opted to watch Snakes on the Plane. Yeah, I am old enough to watch I think that's probably that wasn't 2010s. I opted to watch a late 2000s movie instead of watching the dunk contest. The fact that this before we get to the dunk contest, the fact that me and my girl we decided to stay in this weekend. We didn't do nothing too big for Valentine's Day. Instead of enjoying the heck out of the skills challenge, I would say after Draymond's first round, and I was like, okay, he's being competitive. Chris Paul and them, they did made it like silly, which is like I don't think that plays into like how interesting could this be if you have nothing to do and nothing to watch on a Saturday night. So the fact that we kind of turned it off based off of like it's just not that interesting. I thought the skills challenge was trash. Um, Draymond's crew, the Golden State, is the only ones that I thought like they could really do it, and plus they weren't doing that good. Did you notice? Like, did you watch all of the first round? I'm like, why aren't they like knocking this out of the park? This is like warm ups.
It's
Um,
you would think, right?
yeah,
Uh,
Donovan Mitchell did horrible, and his partner. I was like, this is weird. And Donovan Mitchell's a solid shooter, so I was like, I don't know. I was not interested in the skills challenge at all. So much so that transitioning into how do you feel about the dunk contest? We didn't watch the dunk contest. We watched we watched Snakes on the Plane until we eventually went to go get some wings. How do you feel about the dunk contest? Because all I could tell you is the same person won it, and I don't know who else competed.
yeah, none of the thing that's hurt the dunk contest is that the big name dunkers, the people that we know have the ability to dunk the basketball well on active NBA rosters, are not participating. Like shout out to Mac McClung. I mean, winning 3 years in a row as a G League player. I saw a stat that he tripled his like he's made 3 times as much winning the dunk contest as he has in his G League career, which is just kind of funny. And shout out to him for being super athletic and a good
Yeah,
dunker. But we're not seeing any of the big names go and compete. Now, I did notice there was some social media buzz players like Zach Levine, Aaron Gordon, John Morant talking about like, all right, maybe it's time for us to suit up. Maybe I'm gonna go out and dunk. So maybe next year we'll get some participation from some of the bigger names in the league. But that's what hurts it is seeing a G League player come up and win the dunk contest, not because he's purely the best dunker, but because the rest of the NBA doesn't care to participate. Now, if you had stars competing and then a G League player won, cool, cool. But that you're losing out on all the attention.
And you know what? Let's shout out the winner even more. So shout out to the winner because it's like we even have a sports podcast with just the idea of maybe one day this could be big enough to generate income. Maybe one day it could be big enough to pay for our lives. Who knows? Maybe it could just be big enough to where it's like, this is a project for the rest of our lives. But opportunity is key. So just like taking an opportunity to start something like this, shout out to him for knowing the opportunity of being like, I'm athletic. I think I could dunk better than those guys. Whatever he had to do to get a chance and then to do it 3 years in a row, I don't think he'll look back at his life and be like, oh, yeah, I was just an NBA player for days at a time. Is that a strong shot for me? Did you hear that?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think he'll look back at his NBA career and be like, oh, yeah, I was only a player for 2 days on our actual roster. I think the dopest thing about it is the fact that he is continuing to take the opportunity to be like, okay, well, if you guys aren't going to take it, I will take it and I always bring my best. And I just think it's dope when people do take overly advantage of the opportunities that are presented. Because there's plenty of people. There's like side shows of people who do dunk contests, right? They have like their own little leagues for dunk contests. I like that he took advantage of it. And if he could take advantage of it and do some crazy cool dunks, his foot did hit that car. That's what I didn't like about it. But hey, I don't know if I could touch rim right now. I might have to train for 3 months just to touch rim. I don't think I could dunk a baseball right now. So shout out to him. As far as anything else with the dunk contest, nothing. I don't know. Nothing. Like nothing. Like negative. I have a negative amount of things that I understand with that. So I don't know. Not the most entertaining. I'm sure it's pretty fun out there in the Bay Area. Did you guys wanted to attend anything or any bars or locations or food?
Nah, I've stayed away from it.
Yeah, I know traffic's probably ridiculous. And it's in San Fran or it's on Oaktown?
It's in San Francisco.
Okay. Hey. Oh, there's that. Well, we don't seem too excited about All-Star Weekend, but sadly, I think we're about to just transition into the status of the NBA as a whole, and I don't think it gets better. So with that being said, L Boogie, as a fan, and we've been doing this for 3 seasons now. Our first season doing this show, we were pretty happy about the league. I remember, I think it was like something special with LeBron. It was a good basketball year when we first started our show. How do you feel about the status as a fan at our current age, knowing that this is 3 seasons into our show of the NBA? Like, how are you feeling as a fan?
I don't feel as interested, and the reason why, I think one of the reasons why I and a lot of people aren't interested in the league, besides from just like the product and what they put on TV. Obviously teams are shooting more threes now, and sometimes that can get kind of stagnant. But I think what it is I think it's the fact that there is no clear-cut dynasty in the league.
Really?
I think I honestly think that's kind of what's hurting it, because when you think about what we've had for the last 15 years ish, you had LeBron, you had the big 3 in Miami, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have a couple years with the Spurs, the Mavs won 1 year, and then we had Golden State, which had a dynasty for like 5 years. Then you had the Lakers, who had like a year or two where they were pretty good, and since then it's been a lot of parody. And parody can be good because, who wants to see the same thing over and over again? But now there's no common team that everyone is rooting for or rooting against. I don't think. You can't just say, "Oh, we're rooting against." Are you saying, "Oh, we're rooting against the Celtics because they just won"? Are
you rooting for the Knicks?
Not necessarily, no.
Are you rooting for the Celtics?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. I feel like people are rooting for the Knicks and rooting against the Celtics. I don't know why everybody hates the Celtics, including myself. I thought the Celtics were the Dallas Cowboys of the basketball until they proved me wrong. And now I'm like, man, they still ain't that good. if you look at their team, I can't say how much work. I don't know how bad this team would do good against the 2008. I think so. Like I think they would give them a strong run for their money. I think they have a strong core, great players. They got a Colorado native on their team. Shout out to him. What's his name? Derek White.
Yeah.
Um, I think the Celtics are like a real put together team that could go for plenty of chips. I would love to see them play against like a Nuggets or maybe the old Timberwolves when they had Cat. This year's Timberwolves, I'm like I don't really see the path to a championship compared to a Thunder. But I'm like, you don't think the East looks nice right now? Like you don't want to root for the Pacers.
Not really. No, but
You
I
don't
guess
want to root for the Snow Bunny King.
the what?
The Snow Bunny King.
Who are you talking about? You got to be specific, bro. A
The
lot of the
Snow Bunny
basketball
King of
players
the
are.
Pacers. Yeah, you gotta
Oh,
be careful with basketball players. They all
I
got.
was about yeah, basketball, but no, but that's my thing. There's not. I mean, you could say that okay, the Celtics are on their way to a dynasty, but for some reason, I feel like they're going to come up short this year. I don't see them repeating. But again, what I'm saying is this is a situation that we really haven't been in a while, where you have a new team winning every year for what is it, 3 or 4 years in a row? We've had a different champion, and that's the first time that's happened in a very long time.
But I'm just talking
Sometimes
about. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, you're right.
and sometimes I feel like leagues benefit from either there being a hero or a villain team. Like like as much as everyone says they hate the Chiefs, do you know what the Chiefs does for the league, for the NFL? You either you really want to see them win or you really want to see them lose. Either way, you really want to see them do something. With basketball, what team can you say there is that where there's a consensus? Oh, we really want to see this team do something. Like, I mean, maybe you could say the Knicks, but who really believes in the Knicks?
I disagree,
Yeah,
man. I think.
are you gonna say the Lakers? Maybe it'd be nice to send LeBron off, nice, but it's not
Oh,
realistic.
see, that ship has sailed, and I do think ratings and I do think interest in the league from our generation, like I'm talking, I don't want to do 22, but let's do 23 to 30. LeBron to us is like every single year. Every single year, we're used to LeBron going to the finals. We're used to him being the top of the top. We're talking all the way back to like when Orlando made it to the finals. Like I remember watching LeBron walk off the court. I remember how big it was that Orlando beat them to move on with Hidu Turkoglu and Dwight Howard, and then lose to Kobe. I remember Kobe. You remember those times? Like I remember Melo and all that. That's because we were in our youth, and I don't know if the next generation is more worried about that compared to watching TikTok or watching the highlights. I remember sitting down to watch the full basketball games. I'm not saying that there aren't kids that are, and I don't know how they're accessing those games. I'm sure there's plenty of kids who are 12 and 14 years old who do their homework and watch the basketball game. Now, with that being said, you don't think the East has some squads that are like they are cementing inside this generation of talent, like the Celtics? Remember, the Celtics have been twice. They lost one and won one, and then had one off year. The Bucks have done a little too much movement. I think the Bucks are one of those teams who kind of got lucky, and I hate to do that to Giannis because he is a once in a generation. But as far as what Giannis built and what Jokic built, Jokic still has his collective. Giannis doesn't. Right? They got rid of Middleton, getting up there in age. Acquired what's it called? Damian Lillard. We know Damian Lillard to be a what's it called? Uh, a trailblazer. So I don't feel like that's like a strong house. But you don't think the Knicks are experiencing a team that's like, oh, are they going to get over that hump or not? I think that's a great storyline for the East. The Cavaliers are kind of like what the Nuggets used to be, where it's like you guys are always number one but never really make it, right? Like you got kind of like what the Thunder were with KD. Like you guys were always that until that. That's what I see out of the Cavs. I don't think the Cavs are a championship team. It could be me hating. It could be because I hated the way that they did it in the skills challenge. But those storylines in the East are amazing to me. I love the East storylines because we have the Celtics and the Knicks. Everybody wants to root for the Knicks. I feel like everybody hates the Celtics for no reason, whether it's Jaylen Brown hate, whether it's light skin hate towards oh boy, what's his name? Not
Jason
Jared.
Tatum.
Yeah, Jason Tatum. we could do all that, but I feel like they are the team to hate, and I feel like the Knicks are the team to go for. And now that Jimmy's gone, it's like the Heat aren't those underdogs who can make it in the eighth seed or the fifth seed or the sixth seed, right? So they're out the way. If you have two powerhouses, that makes for an entertaining league. So that's why I'm just against your point where you're like, ugh, this league is just blah. Now, where you're right, I'm not feeling the Western Conference, man. I don't. Like, LeBron's old. The Nuggets are good slash great, but nobody, and we're Nuggets fans. But does anybody else care if we win another championship with Jokic, who barely cares about his job? Or Jamal Murray, who's Canadian? And no offense to him being Canadian, it's not his fault, but I'm like, what storyline is attached to the Nuggets where it's like everybody wants to see this team win? Compared to the old boy from Timberwolves winning, compared to like Luka doesn't play for the Mavs no more. So it's like we don't even have the same excitement for Luka to win with the Mavs because it's like he's not a Maverick no more. He's a Laker. And they're not making it to the finals this year, and it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's not the same. The West is what do you want out of the West? Because you're saying the whole league, but what do you want out of the West to potentially be like, okay, this would make the league more interesting? And Wemby is still 2-3 years out, so he can't be the Chico.
Yeah, no, not the Spurs. I mean, what I would obviously I'd want the Nuggets to make it. That would be
The
the
Suns,
number one. That'd be the number one. But number two at this point, I mean, I would honestly say the Thunder. The Thunder going, cause I mean the Thunder seem like they're on the same track that the Celtics were on like a couple years ago.
no,
Young team, you don't think so? Young team, very
they
talented. They're
Taylor,
on the verge. They're on the. Imagine when they were on their verge to going to their first finals. The Celtics, young team, talented, winning and making it to the finals, and then they lost to Golden State. I could see the Thunder doing a very similar thing, having a great record, getting number one seed, getting through the West. I'm not saying that's necessarily what I want, but I think that's what's going to happen. What I would really want, honestly, at this point, and it sounds crazy, other than the Nuggets making it all the way to the finals, it'd be the Lakers. Honestly, it'd be the Lakers just to see LeBron get one more, and then he can retire, and then we can just send him on his way. The Luka and the Lakers era starts off strong. LeBron rides off into the sunset. That's what I think that'd be cool. Other than the Nuggets winning, I want the Nuggets to win. But second, sure, LeBron.
can't go chasing waterfalls, baby. The West is horrible. The Rockets are too young. So like, so what I like about the East is that they're cemented teams. Like I think the Pacers this year will cement themselves as like that deep playoff team where it's like it's very very fun, interesting basketball, not a finals team. The Knicks have submitted themselves as a team that we could all root for and feel good about. It doesn't matter who your team is. You kind of want to see Jalen Brunson do good, right? Like you just kind of want to see if he can do it. He might not do it, but you kind of want to see it. And then the Celtics have officially cemented themselves as the you could hate me or you could love me, but we're here and we're here to stay. And they got big ass contracts to prove that, right? They got health. It's not like they don't have health on their side. The West is like we want the Nuggets to win. Does all Americans want the Nuggets to win? Do international players besides where Jokic is from? I mean, international countries want the Nuggets to win. Objectively, I don't think so. Like, I don't think nobody gives a goddamn about the Denver Nuggets. Only because of the players, the talent, and honestly, sadly, the way that they play the game. That pick and roll at the top of the key is not the most like wow basketball. And I'm not saying the ridiculous amount of three balls that they do as well is better, but I don't think that that's what people want to see in the finals. They rather see a LeBron. They rather see a Ja Morant going nuts, right? And this is a down year for him, which is why I'm not taking that Grizzlies at seconds too serious. But you want to see something a little more exciting. You want to see a team that's submitting themselves as we can do this, because that's not what the Mavericks were. If they would have won, they would have became that. But that's not what they were in the finals, because that's what the Celtics were. Then you got the Mavericks who break up. The West sucks. Who is going to submit themselves as like we're those guys? And the Thunders, they're not like that.
You don't think so? I mean, they're who? Okay, if not them, who's gonna stop them?
The
Who's gonna
Nuggets.
stop the? Okay, the Nuggets. So 1A,
The
1B. I
Clippers
think the
playing
issue with
the health.
the West is it just
The
seems very
Timberwolves.
random. I don't know. The Timberwolves are not playing the same. Like, I mean, granted, they got really hot at the right time last year and went crazy in the postseason, but the Mavericks just don't have that same juice. They do not have that same juice that we saw a year ago or last postseason.
It's an ugly conference. Like, could you sit through any of these games?
I could sit through the championship.
You could.
Let me.
Well, I mean,
I mean,
we got to get
well, let
there.
me put it like this: one versus eight. What do you have? The Thunder versus no.
Do you care to watch the Rockets play the Clippers on a Tuesday night,
Not really.
or
No.
watch the highlight? 6 minutes of the highlight. Like, I can't. I don't
Nah.
care to watch any of these games. I kind of care to watch the Nuggets versus the Timberwolves. I kind of care to watch the Nuggets versus the Lakers just to see LeBron. Not even really to see the Nuggets. But the West, I don't care to watch any of these games Sunday through Sunday. And it's not
What
because
do you?
I'm not a big fan. It's just because this isn't it for me. Like,
What do you think the West needs to do to be more compelling? Like, what could make the now that the trade deadline's already passed? What could happen in the West to make it a more entertaining watch?
I think the younger players need to invest into their retirees. So like the Warriors younger class, that's literally all they are now. Invest into their team to be able to hopefully get them into a top 4 seed. But these guys got what, one, maybe 2 more years. I think Draymond has 1 or 2 years left on his deal, and there's no next deal. Curry, there's no next deal, and I think he's on his like 3 out of 4. I mean 2 out of 4. So I'm like, there really isn't no next deal that's like, oh, we're going for a championship. But forget about the Warriors. The Suns, same thing, but forget about the Suns. The Spurs are already doing it with Chris Paul. The only thing I could see is investing into a lot of energy, but John Morant's really not the same this year. Just I don't know. You're asking me a dead question because I don't know what brings the energy out of this at all. What happened to Zion?
Dog, he was injured for like the first third of the season, and then they bring him back, and he's not even playing every game.
And
They're they're like
42.
they're load managing him, and apparently it's not by his choice. The team is choosing to load manage him. I think at this point, I think they've already thrown the season away. They're like, all right, let's try to get who we have in a rhythm. I mean, you just saw them. They traded away Brandon Ingram, so let's try to get this team in a rhythm, and then prepare to be better next year because it seems like they're not even trying.
Ew. I don't know what the West does. The West needs a rebuild. And I've never said that about an entire conference. What does the West need, El Boogie? You're just going to put all your marbles into the Thunder and hopefully these players get as big as KD and Russ? Because that's not how they play. They're
It
not that
it is
exciting.
It isn't, but I mean, I think it's. I think actually, I think it would be kind of fun to see a Thunder Celtics finals because, like I said earlier, the Thunder right now are very similar to what the Celtics were when they played their first finals. Good
Mm-hmm.
team, winning and young. Can they prove it? The Celtics at the time couldn't get over the hump. Can the Thunder do it? And I think also with the Thunder, in a way, they're in a win now kind of mode because they're so young and so talented. You cannot keep all of those guys on that team for another year, 2 years, three. Like you're not going to sign all of them to extensions. You're not. You can't afford it. Pick your favorite two, pick your favorite three. Like I think when Jalen Williams is time for an extension, you let him go. You maybe keep Chet, you maybe keep Shea, and retool. So in a way, they're kind of in win now mode. If you want to win with this roster as constructed, before you have to start shipping people off or letting people walk, win now. So I think there's a lot of pressure on the Thunder, really. But I think that would be a fun watch.
No,
Maybe.
that's just it. The most interesting finals right now is the Thunder versus the Nuggets versus the Celtics. Because just from the way that their rosters were built, not because they're the best teams in the league, but just the way that their rosters are built and the team chemistry, I think it's strong enough to make this happen. I mean, to make for interesting finals, just as far as who's the better basketball team with the better built team. Other than that, there's not like a finals that I'm dying to see. Eastern Conference, I would love to see Celtics, Knicks, Celtics, Pacers. You know, that's awesome, but I don't think either of those teams get past the Celtics. So, and it sucks because I'm just throwing the Cavaliers under the bus, but there's nothing about the Cavaliers that are exciting to me. I think Donovan Mitchell's cool. I just don't think that they're an exciting team. I don't even know if he's just 110% the best player on that team. He definitely produces the most, but I don't know. Tragedies. Tristan Thompson's still on the Cavs.
What?
I did not know that. Yeah,
Why?
plays about 4 minutes a game.
That's crazy.
How old is this man?
He's got to be like 37?
33.
30. What?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So he was really young when he was playing with LeBron.
Makes sense though. 12 years ago,
Um,
he could have been a rookie.
damn.
Yeah, he could have been a rookie at 19.
Yeah. Shit.
Shout out
Okay. Good
Tristan
for him.
Thompson. He's been loyal to them. Has he played anywhere else?
I don't think so. That's the crazy part.
They kept him around. All right. Anyways, moving on. Okay, let's get some more energy. Well, this is actually kind of a sad topic too. This is a good sad topic. All right, we're hecka late on our Super Bowl takes. Yes, guys, it's been 2 weeks. Yes, we've missed time. Whatever. It's over with. L Boogie, how do you feel now that's 2 weeks out about Super Bowl 1 week out? Well, because it happened on the weekend. 1 week out from Super Bowl 59, we had a absolute blowout, 40-22. The real score was 40-6. El Boogie, how you feel about Super Bowl 59?
I mean, the Chiefs hater in me was very pleased, very very pleased to see Mahomes and the Chiefs kind of get manhandled. Um, but honestly, I think this was the battle of the you know perfectly constructed roster versus god tier talent. It was a pure like head to head, and I really loved the matchup. Honestly, I thought the Chiefs were going to put up more of a fight, but that Philly defense came to play. That D line went and got after Mahomes. The secondary, until they took out the starters in the fourth quarter, the secondary locked down the receivers. Mahomes didn't really have anywhere to go. And then their offense produced. I don't think we had seen the Eagles' offense look, I can't say as productive because it's not like they went crazy as an offense, but they looked very smooth and very efficient. They weren't really sloppy. Jalen Hurts only had one turnover, but they moved the ball steadily. Jalen was throwing. He had a deep bomb to Devontae. AJ Brown was being a boss. Um, I don't know. They just played their. I think the Philly team played their best game. Jalen Hurts was clean. Saquon didn't have a great game because the Chiefs were focused on stopping him and slowing him down. I don't know. I was just pleased. I was very happy for the Eagles. Very happy for Jalen Hurts winning Super Bowl MVP. I think he cements himself as a top three, top four quarterback in the NFL. And
Mm-hmm.
we can get into that debate. But anyway, I felt very good for the city of Philly. I wish Jason Kelsey would have stuck around for one more year.
Yeah.
I really wish he would have. But yeah, good for them. And the Chiefs. The Chiefs aren't going anywhere. The Chiefs will be back. As long as you have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, you are going to be a competitor in the NFL. So they're going to be back.
Yeah, the what I really took from this Super Bowl was, did the Chiefs get exposed? No, I think that the AFC got exposed. And what I mean by
Interesting.
that,
Interesting.
yeah, I think the AFC got exposed really bad. I'm more frustrated with the coaching of the Ravens and the coaching of the Bills than I am of the actual Chiefs. So it's like it wasn't that easy to beat the Chiefs. No, that's not how that works. But when I do look at these close games that the Chiefs were losing throughout the year, and then I look at the Ravens losing to um, the Bills, and then I look at the Bills losing to the Chiefs. Now it comes to like a coaching thing where it's like the Chiefs were doing the same thing all year though. It was like one score games. It was 16-14 against the Broncos. You know what I mean? Like that's a low scoring game. That is a not best, Patrick Mahomes' worst year. But yeah, he had his best games against the Ravens, very first game of the season, and against the Bills, the last game of the season before the Super Bowl. I think that show, like, I don't know. I'm more disappointed in that. Now, outside of the Chiefs, right? The Eagles, I know that Jalen Hurts, I knew before the game Jalen Hurts was a better quarterback than every other quarterback in the AFC. I think he's number 2 in the league right now. Now, does he have to do excuse me, I think he's like 3 or 4. Does he have to do any and everything to make sure his team wins? No, because he actually had an opportunity to take a step back. But 2 years ago, say it again, 2 years ago, he did. He had to take all those responsibilities. So shout out to Saquon Barkley for getting him to a Super Bowl to avenge and shut down all the noise about that very first Super Bowl. Because remember, he didn't get the ball back. And he proved that. He proved that he didn't get the ball back in this game. He did everything right. He did have a very disappointing touchdown that if it was a more competitive game, a disappointing interception, that if it was a closer game, that definitely could have played a factor. So that interception was huge because if they would have turned that into points, we're talking about a totally different ball game if they were able to do more productive things. This Super Bowl sucked simply because the Chiefs didn't get exposed. The AFC did. I feel like the AFC got so exposed because they let them get away with it over and over and over again. And it took one NFC team to be like, wait a minute. We're just going to do what every single team who kept it between a one-score game did, and we're just going to do it better. And we're just going to attack Patrick Mahomes. I think that's what happened.
I don't think that's fair to say. And I
How?
don't think it's fair to say just because of how good the Eagles are. Like the Eagles could have that same roster in theory, could have that same roster and play in the AFC. I will say where you're
Would they
not
blow
wrong,
out the
where
AFC?
where you're not wrong is okay. What this signifies is, hey, all those AFC teams, you know what you need? You need a dominating pass rush. You need a dominating pass rush because the Chiefs had not seen a pass rush like that all season. They had been working with honestly, like not a great O line, and at the end, it was definitely like a patchwork O line. And nobody got after Mahomes except for the Eagles. Now, I don't want to say the AFC is weaker because I don't think any other NFC team has that good of a pass rush. The only other team that really had such a great pass rush and gave Mahomes fits, Broncos, who had a really good defense this year. But the Eagles, their pass rush, that D line took over the game. So you can say, okay, no other team in the NFC has a good pass rush, but to say that, those other teams, the coaching or whatever, that I don't think that's right.
I'm just disappointed in every team that played the Chiefs in the playoffs. So
I mean, we also can't act like the Chiefs aren't a good team, like they're not a dynasty team. We can't
they're,
act like
they're
they're
a
not
dynasty
that.
team, but were they a good team? Did they prove at the end of the season that they were a good team?
They're a good team because they only lost one before the Super Bowl. They only lost one real game. I don't count that Week 17 loss against the Broncos because starters didn't play. But over the regular season and before the Super Bowl, they only lost one game. And honestly, if they're just that good. They're that coach. They schemed good. They execute enough. Patrick Mahomes did just enough. Like you said earlier, did not have a great season. Did just enough to have a effectively 15-1 record. Um, but I think the Eagles were just the better team. Honestly, like a better constructed team.
And they were a better team all year too. Like I do think the Eagles were a great team all year. They had all their mishaps with their coach and back and forth with the fans, and then people were coming at what's it called? Jalen Hurts' passing ability and everything like that. They got better throughout the year. They started shutting people up. They ended up 15 and 2, 16 and 2, 15 and 2, right? They only lost 2 or 3.
I think they lost 3 or 4.
I don't think 4.
They were the number 2 seed, I believe,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think 3.
because
Cuz
the Lions lost. They're 14-3,
14 and
14-3.
3. Yeah, so I'm like they got better throughout the season. And I mean, it was obvious. The best thing that could have happened for the NFC is if the Lions played them. But the Lions were beat down bad, dog. Like, you know what I mean? I would much rather have a healthy Lions team. So I mean, it all played out how it was, man. I'm not too impressed with this year's Super Bowl. I'm very, very, very happy for Jalen Hurts. Been watching Jalen Hurts since I was 18. He was 18. I was trying to play these. I brought this up plenty of times on the show. I was 18. He was 18. He was starting quarterback for Alabama. I was trying to make a D2 football team. So I've always had utmost praises for Jalen Hurts and the success of his career, especially after being benched, after getting blown out bad in the playoffs, one of the first playoffs, then getting to the Eagles, them talking about he's not a starting quarterback, then get him then going to the Super Bowl and not getting a chance to get the ball back, all the way up to this moment, and he kept a stiff face through it all, ready, motivated. So happiest for Jalen Hurts. Feel bad for Jason Kelsey. It was a blowout. It was a blowout. Hey, season's over. With that being said, so a couple things with the season now being over. What do you? Let's just stick to the Super Bowl teams this week, and then we could get into other teams and other players. What do you think about these two teams going into next year? Specifically, let's start with the Chiefs. And do you think Travis Kelsey retires, or where do you think he stands with the team moving into next year?
I think Travis Kelsey comes back. Travis Kelsey. I mean, obviously, I don't know the guy, but he seems like a competitor, like a competitor so much that he doesn't want his last football game of his historic NFL career to be a blowout loss in the Super Bowl. I definitely see Travis Kelsey coming back, but I think his role in the Chiefs offense goes down tremendously. I mean, I forgot, I was watching one video and they rolled back a lot of his tape. If you see Travis Kelsey, he looks so slow, like coming out of his stance, coming out of block. It seemed like everybody around him was moving at 2 times speed and he was moving at half speed sometimes. He messed up on blocks, which end up getting
Ended
Patrick
up the
sacked a
sack.
couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think that he has that capability anymore. So I think he can come back because I think he still has a good feel for space, which was part of what was made him so hard to cover is him having a feel and manipulating where the defense is. So I think he comes back, but you take something off his plate. You let Noah Gray come and handle those blocks. You go draft a young tight end who's a blocking tight end, but you do not put Travis on that line to try to slow down a D end. You don't do that anymore because I don't think he has it. Um, and then besides from Travis coming back, Chiefs obviously offensive line. They signed an offensive tackle last offseason, drafted one took one in the draft. Neither are good, so try to get that right. Um,
You know what's my
receiver,
sleeper with the Chiefs?
hmm,
How do you feel about their running back core? You got Kareem Hunt. You got a a interesting situation with Pacheco, and then I think they still got that white boy on another year.
you
That's a scary running back room right now.
the issue with their running back room because I think their running backs played really well through the season, but in the postseason they became kind of ineffective. And I think partially that's because one, Pacheco came back off of a major injury, and Kareem Hunt was just old. When he started, when the Chiefs picked him back up and he started, he looked really good. But as the season progressed, he kind of lost some juice. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they drafted a young running back late in the draft just to try to add a little more juice and a little more depth to that running back room. But I would feel good with that running back room going into next season. A young rookie, Pacheco, Kareem Hunt on another 1 year deal. I would ride with that.
I don't feel good about any of them. Pacheco,
Really?
it depends on if he heals. Because like one thing that
Well,
sucks about Pacheco is I know he still has it in him. You don't see him fighting for those extra yards. But with that being said, after coming off of that hard injury, you don't know what it does to you mentally, and also how much opportunity has he had to do that. So when you go from 20 rushes to 5, it's like you only have 5 opportunities to try to fight for extra yards. So I don't even know if they're letting him get an opportunity, but I don't see it. But also, I'm seeing less of him. Kareem Hunt, I'm not seeing anything crazy from the Super Bowl game, but I'm seeing everything else, and it's like, well, what on the free market can't do what Kareem Hunt can? And it might be a situation where it's like there's plenty of guys who could do it and are probably going to ask for less money than Kareem Hunt, unless they can negotiate a really good deal. But there's age.
I'm about to say Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt ain't he ain't asking for a ton of money, bro.
But
He's
the point
not.
is like, what's his expectation, knowing that the rest of the market might look the same as him? So I just want to know
Nah.
like what's next for him. What's next as far as expectation next year? Because the Pacheco has a lot of time to recover and comes back, and he's right back to his Lynch days where it's like, oh no, I feel good right now, and I'm willing to risk the biscuit to get those extra yards like he has in past times. So I don't know. They have an interesting running back room because I don't know what they do next. I don't.
I mean, I'd say run it back. I don't think investing big money in a running back right now for the Chiefs. I don't think that's what they need to do. Throw all of your money at that offensive line and a little more money at the defensive line. That would I think that would cover it.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm
yeah,
interested
but
in that running back room. You did have one more before I cut you off. Who else did you have? You said after the O line.
the D line, and I think even their linebackers. I think their linebackers could use some improvement. They'll probably target that in the draft.
You said D
Um,
line.
yeah, I mean you have Chris Jones. Yes, Chris Jones is great, but you
Just
need
more
depth.
after it.
You need
Yeah,
depth, man. We did.
and
Well, I was
he's
about to say we saw that Eagles D line. Yeah, you have Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, but but they did. You have Josh Sweat. You have so many people that you could just run in and rotate and go. So you
I
know,
respect them. All right. What about the Eagles? Because for me, it's just running back.
uh, the tough part with the Eagles is because they have so many players that are up for money now.
Oh
So
no.
many players up for money. Zach Bond, that signing from last year, and he blossomed into an All Pro player this season. He's up for money, and guess what? Teams are going to throw a lot of money at Zach Bond. Teams that need, I think the Broncos might throw money at Zach Bond. We definitely need an improvement at the linebacker position, and there he is. Um,
They don't want to
so
lose him though. I don't know if he wants to leave with that bag.
you don't, and even Josh Sweat, who was getting in Mahomes' face, he had 2 sacks in the Super Bowl. He's a free agent too, so I think that's going to be their tough part is losing pieces. I
You
think
can't.
secondary they'll be back. Um, O line, unless they lose someone to retirement, which may be Lane Johnson, but I doubt it. They'll be back. I think it's keeping that defense together. That's what's going to be tough. Keeping the linebackers and defensive line together, which you could argue is the reason why they won that Super Bowl in such a dominating fashion. But everything else, they should be able to just run it back.
I think Lane Johnson will give us another year. Yeah, I say just run it back. I do say keep Zach Bond over Josh Sweat, but god damn, wouldn't it be nice to get both? So if they could focus on getting both and wiggle some stuff
Yeah,
around, but
but the draft, they do have the draft, so if you lose one, replace one with a young person
Blake
who you think has talent.
statement for a 27-year-old. And how old is Zach Bond?
Zach Mont's probably like 20, like late 20s.
These guys are
Uh,
ready to hit because this is probably the last time they'll be able to do it in their life. So I think they got one more great year left in them. 27 and 28 years old. I
yeah,
think
but
that's their last
the Eagles
year.
can't. The Eagles can't afford it. They can't afford it. They're paying too many people too much money.
And these guys are going to want three. They might be able to get 3 4 year contracts to finish out their career
Oh, for sure, for
because
sure.
they're Zach Bond's 3 years away from being 31 and being on the back burner of any NFL
Oh,
career.
Oh yeah, no, he wants big money. He wants big money now. But I mean, the Eagles have the fourth or fifth highest paid quarterback, AJ Brown. He's getting money. Devontae signed an extension. Saquon, who's not making hella money, but I think right now he's the third highest paid running back. Like it's a lot of money already getting spent.
Okay, last thing of the night. Do we want the Eagles to go back to the Super Bowl next year? I don't
Want
like it.
I
I don't
would have I would have I would have preferred it so much more if the Lions went this year and then the Eagles went next year. But
nah.
now since that didn't happen, I want to see the Lions do it.
They lost everything.
I know. It's a
Injuries,
hard ask.
coordinators, players,
It's a
contracts. It's over.
it's a hard pill to swallow, man. But
Jared
that's what
Goff
I
needs
want.
to go.
They signed him to a big money extension.
I don't care. He needs to go.
Nah, they did lose that game because of him, though. But anyway, aside from Detroit, no, I'd be pretty happy. I'd be pretty cool with the Eagles running it back. I think the tough part is this year now, since you just won the Super Bowl. You are the target now.
Mm,
Everyone is gonna give you their best shot.
the
You're gonna
Commanders.
lose some. You're gonna lose a couple games. Yeah, being in that division with the Commanders, who are a young team, they're just gonna get a little bit better. That division's gonna get a little grittier. I'm not too worried about the Cowboys, but you never know. Big brand. Giants. We're not worried about the Giants, but everyone's gonna give you their best go. Everybody is. So I think their journey to the Super Bowl will be more difficult, but they can do it. They're built to do it.
For me, I want the Eagles to go back just because I want the Commanders to develop for one more year. I do think the Lions are done. I don't have faith in Sam Darnold.
If they keep them.
Maybe Matthew Stafford gets it on his last year, but no, they proved this year they probably weren't the better team. I don't think that they would have did better in better weather to win the game or to make it to the
I,
Super Bowl.
I think that's their peak. That's the Rams' peak. Divisional
Which
round.
wasn't bad. They had a great comeback season in one of the most ridiculous conferences, right?
For sure. 100%.
Baker's still not ready to make it to the Super Bowl.
Bears? What do you think about the Bears?
I do not think the Bears are making it to the Super Bowl.
Oh no, not the Super Bowl, but I mean, like, do you think they could be a contender next year, like in the playoffs?
I want the Commanders and Bears to be a real rivalry, kind of like a Steelers Patriots, kind of like a Patriots Broncos with Peyton Manning. I want that to turn into that 4 or 5 years from now. Can Caleb Williams make it happen? I just hope, based off of he got what he wanted. We have new management. We're gonna start investing into you. You're not a bad quarterback. You have good signs. Let's actually make you a great quarterback. So all the pressure of your rookie year is gone. I hope that the Bears and the Commanders can make a true rivalry out of this, an NFC rivalry. But as far as young rivalries, I don't know because we don't want people like what's his name, Cam Ward and Shador to come in to the Titans and the New York and just completely ruin that. So Caleb Williams has a lot of pressure on himself next year because if Shador comes in with like a Titans, a lower market, and has a better season than the Bears, then it's going to be really bad for him. If Cam Ward comes in, he goes to the Titans or Giants, and they have a better season than Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams has a golden ticket. He's basically a rookie next year. Like you have brand new management, you have a great offensive core that those two guys are not going to have. You better have a better season than them. Or else there is no competition with Commanders. There's competition with whoever's going to start over you. So yeah, I want that to be the rivalry moving on, is the Commanders versus the Bears. But it's up to Caleb Williams to prove that the Bears could be that type of team, especially when he gets everything he wants, and he's going to get the offense he wants. So that's the only rivalry I would say coming out of the NFC from the young guys. As far as like Super Bowl next year, I don't think I just think the Eagles deserve that Super Bowl again based off of their current constructed team. And then I'm ready for the Commanders to roll in. I'm ready for maybe Baker, who knows? Hey, maybe the Falcons. Falcons got a lot of work to do. But nobody else from the NFC, and I don't have faith in Sam Darnold. Sorry, Diggs, I don't think you're gonna get one there.
You know what? I'm calling it now. It might be early, but I'm calling it. Broncos Commanders Super Bowl
3 years from now.
next year, and I'm gonna be there in person. I'm gonna be there at the Super Bowl. It's coming here. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna see it.
All right, man. I think that wraps up another episode of El
I'm
Boogie.
calling it, cuz.
Oh shit, El Boogie, can you take us out, please?
Hey, we appreciate y'all tuning into El Boogie and the Bill. Make sure you go and leave a comment, leave a like on all the videos, full video on YouTube, clips on TikTok. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let us know where we're right. Let us know where we're wrong. Let us know what y'all want to see us talk about. Let us know if y'all have a question to pose to us. We'll answer it. We'll address it all right. But anyway, we appreciate y'all and we'll catch y'all back here next week.
Peace.